I thought my husband was cheating on me, until a little girl called him Dad. If someone had told me a month ago that my entire life was about to change in a single afternoon, I never would have believed them. My name is Emily. I'm 34 years old. I had been married to my husband, Michael, for almost 10 years. Like every couple, we had our ups and downs, but I always trusted him completely. At least, I did until the day a little girl looked at him, smiled, and said one word: Daddy. Everything started a few months earlier. Michael began coming home later than usual. At first I didn't think much of it. He always had a reasonable explanation. A new project. A difficult client. Just a few more weeks. But the weeks turned into months. He seemed distracted. Sometimes I would wake up in the middle of the night and find him sitting alone in the kitchen, staring into the darkness. Is everything okay? I would ask. He always smiled and said yes, but something felt different. One Saturday afternoon I went to a shopping mall to buy a few things. As I waited in line for coffee, I noticed a familiar figure across the hall. It was Michael. My heart skipped a beat. He was supposed to be working. I was about to walk over and surprise him. Then everything changed. A little girl, maybe 7 years old, ran toward him. She wrapped her arms around him and shouted, "Daddy!" I froze. The coffee cup nearly slipped from my hands. Michael looked up and saw me. The expression on his face was pure panic. A few seconds later, a woman approached them. She took the little girl's hand. Michael said something quietly to her, and they quickly walked away. I stood there in complete shock. For the rest of the day, I waited for an explanation. But Michael never mentioned what happened. Not once. That silence hurt more than anything. A few days later, I decided to find the truth myself. For the first time in our marriage, I started asking questions I never thought I would ask, and what I discovered would change everything. The next morning, after Michael left for work, I couldn't stop thinking about what I had seen. The little girl, the woman, the way Michael looked at me. It was as if he had been caught hiding something for years. For several days, I tried to convince myself there had to be a simple explanation. Maybe she was a relative. Maybe it was a misunderstanding, but deep down, I knew something wasn't right. Then, one evening, while looking for a document in Michael's desk, I found an old envelope. Inside were several photographs. The moment I saw them, my heart sank. There was Michael, there was the little girl, and there was the same woman from the shopping mall. The photos weren't new. Some of them were years old. One photograph had been taken almost 8 years earlier. My hands began to shake. Questions raced through my mind. Who were they? Why had he never told me about them? How long had this been going on? That night, I barely slept. Every memory from the last 10 years suddenly felt different. Every late night, every business trip, every excuse. I started wondering if my entire marriage had been built on lies. A week later, I made a decision. I was going to find out the truth. One afternoon, I followed Michael after work. I felt guilty for doing it, but I needed answers. He drove across town and stopped in front of a small house. A few moments later, the woman opened the front door. The little girl ran outside and hugged him. My heart shattered. At that moment, I was certain. I believed I had just discovered his secret family. Tears filled my eyes. For several minutes, I sat in my car trying to gather the courage to leave. But instead, I got out. I walked to the front door and knocked. The woman opened it. To my surprise, she didn't seem shocked to see me. Instead, she looked at me carefully and asked, "Are you Emily?" I froze. "How do you know my name?" The woman looked down for a moment. Then she stepped aside. "Please come in," she said. What happened next was something I never expected. Inside the living room were dozens of photo albums. The woman handed me one of them. As I opened it, I saw photographs of Michael with another man. A man I had never seen before. The woman pointed to him. "That was David," she said softly. "Michael's best friend." Then she told me a story that changed everything. 10 years earlier, David and Michael had been inseparable. They had grown up together. They were more like brothers than friends. But one night, David was involved in a terrible car accident. Before he passed away, he made Michael promise something. He asked him to take care of his wife and daughter if anything ever happened to him. Michael gave his word, and he kept that promise. For 10 years. The little girl wasn't Michael's daughter. She was David's daughter. The woman wasn't his secret wife. She was the widow of his best friend. The reason Michael visited them so often was simple. He had been helping them survive, helping with medical bills, helping with school expenses, helping whenever they needed support. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Everything I thought I knew was wrong, but one question still remained. Why didn't he tell me? The woman smiled sadly. He wanted to, many times. He was afraid. Afraid you would misunderstand. Afraid you would think exactly what you're thinking now. Tears filled my eyes. That evening, when Michael came home, I was waiting for him. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then I asked quietly, "Why didn't you trust me with the truth?" He sat down and lowered his head. "I wasn't afraid of telling the truth," he said. "I was afraid of losing you." At that moment, I realized something important. Sometimes the biggest mistakes aren't caused by betrayal. Sometimes they're caused by fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of difficult conversations. Fear of losing the people we love. That night, we talked for hours, longer than we had talked in years. And when the conversation ended, I knew our marriage had changed forever. Not because of a lie, but because the truth had finally come out. And sometimes, the truth can heal what silence almost destroys.